Hi everyone, I'm Fabian, and today we're going to be going over a few meetings for the city of Frankfort. We're going to be watching a little bit of the Redevelopment Commission meeting, and I think that I didn't have anything for the Common Council meeting, but then there's a few short clips in the Board of Public Works meeting on September 8th. This is going to be a pretty short one, so let's get right into it.
Senate bill, I know you're a lot more involved in it than I am. Are you expecting them to maybe go back and try to make some changes at some point, or have you heard anything?
I think the changes on the 1% and 2%, so the homeowners and the multifamily residential, so those new deductions and the homestead credit, I don't foresee that going anywhere. It's going to be really hard to grow your tax base moving forward. Luckily for a lot of units in 2026, that wasn't much of a problem. But there is all these new credits we have to contend with, the new homestead credits we have to deal with. That is a revenue loss number we have to consider. But on the property tax side, I don't see much changing aside from where we are.
If you didn't watch my previous video, then you already know that I've reached out to the Clinton County councilors, and I also encourage you all to reach out to our elected officials to write a bipartisan joint letter calling out Senate Enrolled Act 1, because as you can hear, they're not expecting any changes. And honestly, I don't expect any changes from our legislators either without some external pressure on them.
We were presented with really some sobering projections as far as the Senate bills and so forth, and how it's going to apply us. Are we looking at any type of fallout from what you're giving us here? Will the schools see anything different, less money, more money?
From Senate Enrolled Act 1?
So the person on the very left talking, I think it's Bud McQuaid. He's a part of the school board, so that's why he's talking about the schools.
Yeah. That's a very nuanced question. Where did your revenue projections come from that you were looking at?
Well, our assistant superintendent provided them to us. I don't have it. It came from here. It was really coming out of the clear blue when he presented those figures to us.
Yep.
Because right now we're in good shape, but our enrollment's dropping, and that is an issue for us, obviously. And with the expenses, daily expenses going up,
Yeah, no kidding.
looking at all the places to look for money.
Yeah, so a lot of your concerns are being echoed by a lot of communities. We have a couple school clients now, and ones that I'm meeting with are having very similar challenges.
Yeah.
So the whole income tax system is being reformed right now, and that's creating a whole list of other problems in itself. But for communities that receive property tax relief that have high circuit breakers, schools get relief from income tax in an indirect way now. That goes away in 2028.
Right.
So that's a cliff for a lot of communities.
And real quick, if you don't watch my Senate Enrolled Act 1 video, which by the way, go watch it, but we already have a fairly high income tax in Clinton County. And the new cap will be 2.9%, but we're already at 2.65%. A lot of other communities have a much lower income tax. So they'll probably be able to recoup a lot of that money that they're losing from the property taxes because they have a higher gap between what their current income tax is and what the new cap will be. But because we're already so close to the cap, we don't really have a lot of wiggle room to increase our income tax to recoup that lost property tax revenue. So things are going to be, like he said, it's going to be a cliff. It's not going to be very good for us to have all these changes from Senate Enrolled Act 1 because we're not going to be able to recoup maybe as much as we would like or as much as we would need. Also, I just want to say that I do think Mr. McQuaid asked some good questions. I think he's been someone who's asked a few questions during meetings that I thought were pretty good. We might go over them during some of the school board meetings, but I won't get too far into it. But I do remember when I spoke at one of the school board meetings regarding one of the child predators that we had in our schools. I was going to talk to someone after the meeting. He actually came up to me before I was able to speak to that person, and we had a good conversation because I have been advocating for higher teacher pay. And if you haven't watched my video regarding the community schools of Frankfort and what I think are some issues, you should go watch that because a lot of my speech had to do with that. But I don't believe our pay is where it should be. And, we had a good conversation about that. And I appreciated that he came up to me and he had a conversation with me about pay and about some of the concerns that I had. He was the only one that really talked to me about that. So that was nice. And I appreciate that he is willing to sometimes ask some good questions and give his thoughts out there. And I wish more people would do that.
Good evening. Mayor Sheets, Joe, and the county met about a month ago to talk about how we can not necessarily change Frankfort, but how we can bring developers and investors into the city of Frankfort. This is with Civitas. They're a firm or organization that does well known for their developer roundtable and engagement meetings. There's some areas in our downtown that I think could definitely benefit from this, and areas that would benefit our TIF area. And they're a part of Veritas Group. What they would pretty much do is we would work with them to identify potential areas that we would like to redevelop, reimagine, look at different things that we could potentially bring into the city of Frankfort, kind of an all-together forum where we can present our ideas of what we would like to see Frankfort, and then also on the back end of that, for them to be able to go back into their company or to their partners and say, hey, we're interested in Frankfort. We may like this area of Frankfort, or we may like that area of Frankfort, and we may want to put in more housing, or we may want to put a multi-use space in, or whatever that looks like, right? That the city was hoping to potentially partner with the Redevelopment Commission on, partner with the county and the economic development side. And so what I'm asking at the end of the day, when talking with Joe and talking with Eric and the county, is for $15,000 at most. So we would cap it to be able to have this type of developer roundtable to kind of get Frankfort, the buzz going with Frankfort, and to get different ideas from different developers and investors.
So I'm going to give my thoughts on that here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and let some of the rest of the clips play, and then I'll talk.
But yes, I will definitely be reaching out to them.
And I will say, Mr. Brewer was there. The county seems to be interested in it too, so.
Yeah.
My thoughts would just be to see if Fortville thought it was a good use of their resources to hire them to do that. Obviously, it's early on, but they should be able to tell if they actually brought enough people to the table to discuss future development. And is the county interested in helping pay any of this? Is the other?
That's where I'm headed. So.
Okay.
You said the county is interested in this. So if they would come here and it would involve annexation, the county would be involved in that or agreeable to that, do you think?
The portion that, the section that kind of were the focus, not exactly annexation, but more of the downtown development and probably the ring outside. So you're looking at West Washington, you're looking at North Main, you're looking at more towards the west side would probably be, or the north side. There's some property on the south corner, the south side of Jackson that could definitely, there's for sale sign, for rent signs, those type of things. What else can we, sometimes we kind of get blinders and tunnel vision, and Frankfort has to be this or Frankfort has to be one set, and this is an opportunity to kind of broaden what that maybe look like. And after the ideas come back, the city has an opportunity, redevelopment has an opportunity, the county has an opportunity to say yay, or that's not really the direction we want to go, or this may be the direction we want to go. But it's kind of working, like I said, collaborating together.
So they didn't end up delaying a decision on whether they would help fund this meeting to bring in developers or to come up with a plan until their next meeting. They wanted to see how the county felt about it.
Once you look at the size of the city of Frankfort, we're just about finished developing. We're about full. The best thing about this is that if you're going to plan on what we're going to look like, I've been saying for quite a while that it's time for the city to get in touch with the county and say, we want to have a big decision on what's going to happen in that 2-mile radius around the city of Frankfort. And annexation is going to have to occur sooner or later. And we need to be able to say what we want to do in that area, not just let the county do that. So I think it's an important adventure that Kimberly's presenting, and I think should be, and I know you're seriously looking at it, which is great, but there's a lot of people knocking at the door right now.
So I don't think that whole idea is a terrible one. I actually think that getting a different perspective would be nice, but at the same time, I'm still worried about the effects that Senate Enrolled Act 1 will have and some of the national policies like tariffs. And not to mention that in one of the other meetings, I mean, we could hear one of the department heads saying that they have a lot of people complaining about building inspections and how long those take. And my worry is that a lot of local businesses will not be able to make it in this economy in these next few years due to all these policies, due to all these bad policies, in my opinion. I really want local businesses to thrive here in Frankfort or here in Clinton County in general. Otherwise, I would be thinking, wow, this is a great idea. But knowing the circumstances that we're in, I feel a little bit worried about if this would even pan out. But I definitely don't disagree with what they're saying here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Board of Works regular meeting. So right now the person speaking, her name is Suzanne Spicer, and she's been cleaning up around Frankfort, so kudos to her for doing that.
Little shooter alcohol bottles all over, beer bottles, and then I put that on 28 by the police department. I noticed, and this is happening multiple times, people just go in there and mow right over the trash.
Probably, is that probably NDOT that mows out there?
Yeah, there's an easement that the NDOT has, and they're responsible for a certain, I don't know what exactly that measurement is. You know, they do use bush hogs and they use heavy equipment to do those mowings, but I don't think they go and look and see what's in that grass before they mow it.
That should not be happening. Okay, that should not be happening. That's just terrible for the environment right there.
If you want to organize something or have us do something, we would be happy to help you, like get the word out, you know, put it on social media, whatever you need from us, because we appreciate that. If you go to the parks and you pick up and you get the trash, I'm sure Parks or Street Department would pick that up. And
well, I'm glad to hear that they'd be willing to help, but I'd much rather us just have the staff to be able to actually keep the ground clean. And that's just going to be a lot harder to do under Senate Enrolled Act 1 and the funds that we will have in the future. But that's all I have for these few meetings. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Until next time.